The first shading exercise you're going to do is going to be to create a grayscale. As you can see here, a grayscale demonstrates our qualities of good shading, which go from number 10, the darkest your pencil can get, to number 1, the white of the page, with an infinite number of grays between. That infinite number of grays in between is called blending. The blending is what makes shading look really nice. So we're going to practice that with this grayscale. First thing you can do is just take your ruler, any ruler will do, and you're going to trace it out at approximately 8 inches. And I'm tracing the top, the bottom, the side, all the way up to the 8 inches where I'm going to finish it off. Again, this is 8 inches long, and all I did was trace my ruler to create a long rectangle. Now, for this, you do need to use a shading pencil. I'm using a 7B. Don't go any lower than 4Bs because that is drawing pencils, not shading pencils. 6B, 7B, or ebony pencils are good shading pencils to use. Now, whether you go from light to dark or dark to light is completely up to you. But I find that going from dark to light is actually easier because it's perfectly okay to have to get darker, but it's not so easy to get lighter once you put shading already down. So if you start on this side and it's too dark, you have to start over. You don't want to do that. So by starting on the darker side and working your way to the lighter side, it helps you to keep things more controlled. Now, one little trick that you can use too in shading is to take your ruler and simply put it on the edge of your grayscale while you're shading on that side. What it'll do is it'll give you a stopping point. That stopping point will create a nice even edge as you are working. Now obviously it's not working for the top and bottom at the same time, so I'm going to work a little bit at a time on both sides so that I can use my ruler on the other side as well. Now I'm wanting to avoid banding, so what I'm doing is just working my way back and forth, layering to prevent warping of my number 10s, and I'm just gonna keep working my way down and out and across to get my blending. Now even though we say that this is a number 10 and that this is a number 1, we don't put lines to show the difference between the shading. I have another video that shows how to get number 10s without warping your page. There's another video to show how to avoid banding. There's another video that shows how to use a sharp point for smoother shadows, and a video to show how to get really light shadows using a shading pencil. Now a number 10 means that you can't see if you shade anymore. So you can go on top of it more and more and more and more, and it doesn't matter, nothing's getting any darker, because that is the darkest your pencil can get. So that would be a number 10 shadow. Now blending is when one shadow goes gradually to the next without being able to see a definite line. So if I were to go to my next shadow and have it this light, you can see a definite line between this gray and this gray. Therefore, that does not blend. So I'd have to go back to that edge, to that area, and work to get that edge to disappear. When it disappears, when you don't have a line separating the two, that's when you have blending. It is also possible to shade a grayscale going the opposite direction as I did the previous one, but it is a little tougher to blend one shadow to the next. It's a little easier when you're not fighting the direction of your shading, but it is possible. So as you can see, this one was done against the grayscale on sketchbook paper, so it has that mottled look, but it blends a little easier. This one was done on smooth Bristol board with the grayscale. It makes it a little tougher to make things quite as smooth as you want to, even though it is on smooth Bristol board. Same pencil, two surfaces, two techniques.